Sabalenka, and she's awesome, by the way. Like, getting to know her, she's definitely a character. But I'm super excited for that, and I think she's the type of player that I think she genuinely thinks she's going to win.
December 28, 2025, Dubai. The world's #1 female tennis player steps onto the court to face a man who hasn't won a match in months. Nick Kyrgios, ranked 602nd in the world, has been talking big, real big. He's called this match a piece of cake, claimed he won't even need to try at full capacity, and predicted he'll steamroll the reigning U.S. Open champion. Aryna Sabalenka fired back with 3 words that sent shockwaves through social media. Getting scared, Nick? Here's where it gets interesting. I'm making a bet right now, and I'm putting real money behind it. I believe Nick Kyrgios will win this match easily. And if I'm wrong, if Sabalenka pulls off the upset, I'm giving $100 to every single person who watches this video all the way to the end. You heard that right. Stick around because I'll reveal exactly how you can claim your money at the end of this video. But first, let's dive into why this match has the entire tennis world losing their minds. The last time a Battle of the Sexes match captured global attention, it became one of the most watched sporting events in history. 1973. Billie Jean King versus Bobby Riggs. 90 million people tuned in to watch a 29-year-old female champion take on a 55-year-old former men's champion who couldn't stop running his mouth. Riggs had spent months declaring that women's tennis was inferior, that even an old man like him could destroy the best female player on the planet. He called King and her peers inferior athletes who didn't deserve equal pay or equal respect. Sound familiar? The parallels are impossible to ignore. Riggs predicted an easy victory. He guaranteed he'd expose the gap between men's and women's tennis. He made it personal, turning a tennis match into a cultural flashpoint about gender equality and athletic ability. Then King stepped onto the court at the Houston Astrodome and destroyed him in straight sets. 6-4, 6-3, 6-3. Riggs barely knew what hit him. His cocky predictions aged like milk left out in the Texas sun. That match became a watershed moment, proving that women athletes deserved every bit of respect, recognition, and prize money as their male counterparts. Fast forward 52 years, and history might be about to repeat itself. But this time, the stakes feel different. The context has shifted, and the controversy, it's already out of control. The announcement dropped like a bomb. December 28, 2025, at the Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai, Aryna Sabalenka, the world's top-ranked female player and a 4-time Grand Slam champion at the absolute peak of her powers, will face Nick Kyrgios in an exhibition match that's already dividing the tennis community down the middle. But here's where things get complicated. This isn't a straight-up match with standard rules. The organizers have implemented modifications, and depending on who you ask, these changes either level the playing field or completely undermine the entire point of the competition. Kyrgios will only get 1 serve instead of the standard 2. Think about that. In professional tennis, players rely on that second serve as a safety net. Take it away, and suddenly every service game becomes a high-wire act without a net. 1 fault, and you're handing your opponent a free point. The pressure multiplies exponentially. On top of that, Kyrgios has to aim for a smaller target area on Sabalenka's side of the court. The service boxes shrink, forcing him to be more precise with his placement, while Sabalenka gets the full regulation court to work with. The modified rules sparked immediate backlash. Critics argue that if you need to handicap the man to make the match competitive, aren't you essentially admitting that men and women can't compete on equal terms? Doesn't that prove the point Kyrgios and others have been making? It's a catch-22 that has fans and analysts tied in knots. Some say the modifications are necessary because of the physiological differences in serve speed and power. Others claim it's insulting to both players, turning a legitimate competition into a gimmick that nobody will take seriously. But Nick Kyrgios? He doesn't seem worried about the handicaps at all. If anything, they've only made him more confident, more vocal, more convinced that this match will be a cakewalk. The trash talk started almost immediately after the match was announced, and Kyrgios has been relentless. In interviews and social media posts, he's made his position crystal clear. "She's not going to beat me, bro." Those were his exact words, not "it'll be tough" or "she's a great player." Just a flat dismissal. He predicted the score would be 6-2 in his favor, maybe 6-3 if Sabalenka plays out of her mind. He went even further, questioning whether he'd need to give 100% effort. "Do you really think I have to try my absolute hardest to win this?" The implication was obvious. Even at 75%, even with one serve, even with a smaller target, he believes the physical gap between men's and women's tennis is simply too large to overcome. His argument centers on serve speed. Kyrgios has pointed out that the fastest women's serves top out around 125 to 130 miles per hour, while top male players regularly crack 135 to 145 miles per hour. Some men have hit serves exceeding 155 miles per hour in competition. That's a massive difference, and Kyrgios argues that female players simply aren't built to return serves coming at them with that kind of pace and spin. He's claimed that even with the modified rules, his serve alone will be enough to dominate the match. Sabalenka won't be able to get his returns back over the net consistently, and once he's won his service games easily, breaking her serve will be simple. Other male players have apparently been backing him up privately. Kyrgios mentioned that several guys on the tour have told him he's representing all of them, that he can't afford to lose because it would damage the credibility of men's tennis. The pressure isn't just about his own ego anymore. He's carrying the expectations of an entire gender of professional athletes who believe the physical differences are undeniable and insurmountable. That's a lot of weight to carry, especially when you consider what Nick Kyrgios has actually been doing for the past 2 years. Here's what nobody's talking about enough. Nick Kyrgios is currently ranked 652nd in the world, not 65th, not even 165th, 652nd. His career-high ranking was number 13, achieved back when he was healthy, hungry, and actually playing competitive tennis on a regular basis. Those days feel like ancient history now. In 2025, Kyrgios has played exactly 5 professional matches. His record in those matches? 1 win, 4 losses. That's a 20% win rate against opponents who aren't even close to Sabalenka's caliber. The injury list reads like a medical textbook. Multiple wrist surgeries, knee surgeries. He's spent roughly 18 months on the sidelines over the past 2 years, watching his ranking plummet while his body betrayed him again and again. The last time he competed in a professional match was March 2025. That's 9 months of rust, 9 months away from the speed and precision of tour-level tennis, 9 months of his timing slipping away. Professional tennis is unforgiving. Take a few weeks off and you feel it. Take 9 months off and you're basically starting over. But Kyrgios has a narrative ready. Just weeks before the Dubai match was announced, he started talking about a miracle recovery. His knee, which had been destroying his career for years, suddenly felt better than it had in ages. He claimed the pain was gone, the mobility was back, and he was ready to prove he still had what it takes to compete at the highest level. Convenient timing, isn't it? The cynics are having a field day. Some believe he's genuinely healthy and using this exhibition as a comeback launch pad. Others think he's massively overselling his physical condition to hype up a payday match that's more about spectacle than sport. Either way, the numbers don't lie. 1 win in 5 matches. Ranked 652nd, 9 months since his last competitive appearance. Those are the facts, and they paint a picture that's wildly different from the confident trash talker dominating headlines. While Kyrgios has been nursing injuries and watching his ranking crater, Aryna Sabalenka has been doing the exact opposite. She's been dominating women's tennis like a force of nature. World number 1, 4-time Grand Slam champion. She defended her U.S. Open title in 2025, crushing opponents with a power game that's drawn comparisons to some of the hardest hitters in the sport's history, male or female. Her serve regularly clocks in the 120-mile-per-hour range, and her ground strokes off both wings are absolute missiles. Opponents have described playing against her as trying to return cannonballs. When Kyrgios started running his mouth, Sabalenka didn't back down. She didn't play nice or take the high road. She fired back with the kind of energy that made fans fall in love with her personality. I'm going to kick your ass. Blunt, direct, confident. She didn't sugarcoat it or hide behind polite athlete speak. She promised to put Kyrgios in a very uncomfortable situation on the court to expose the gap between his trash talk and his current ability. She's been training specifically for this match, working on her return game and preparing for the heavier pace that Kyrgios will bring, even if he's rusty. Sabalenka knows what's at stake. She's not just representing herself. She's carrying the legacy of Billie Jean King, the pride of every female athlete who's ever been told they don't belong and the expectations of millions of fans who want to see Kyrgios eat his words on live television. The pressure is immense, but Sabalenka thrives under pressure. It's literally how she won 4 Grand Slams. Big moments don't scare her. They fuel her. Her game matches up interestingly against Kyrgios' style. While he relies on a massive serve and flashy shot-making, Sabalenka brings consistency and power from the baseline. She's one of the best returners in women's tennis, capable of taking pace off the ball and redirecting it with interest. If Kyrgios' serve isn't at 100%, if that 9-month layoff has dulled his accuracy even slightly, Sabalenka will punish every second serve and every weak first serve. And with Kyrgios limited to just 1 serve per point, the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. But the controversy surrounding this match goes way beyond serve speeds and injury reports. The backlash has been fierce, and it's coming from every direction. Former professional players have absolutely ripped this match apart. Rennie Stubbs, a former doubles champion and current commentator, didn't hold back. She said, "Nobody gives a damn about this match," calling it a transparent cash grab that cheapens the legacy of the original battle of the sexes. Other former pros have echoed that sentiment, arguing that Billie Jean King's match against Bobby Riggs had real cultural significance. It was about equality, respect, and dismantling sexist attitudes that dominated sports in the 1970s. This match, critics say, is just about money and social media engagement. The criticism cuts even deeper when you examine Kyrgios' history. He's made comments in the past that many interpreted as opposing equal prize money for women's tournaments. He's argued that men's matches draw bigger crowds and generate more revenue, so the pay should reflect that. Those comments have resurfaced with a vengeance, and fans are questioning whether Kyrgios even respects Sabalenka as an athlete or if he sees her as a prop for his comeback narrative. Then there's his legal trouble. Kyrgios entered a guilty plea for pushing his ex-girlfriend in 2023, an incident that led to widespread condemnation. Critics argue that platforming someone with that background in a match framed around gender sends completely the wrong message. Fans have been begging Sabalenka to reconsider, to pull out of the match and deny Kyrgios the attention and payday he's chasing. So far, she's standing firm, insisting she's going to show up and prove a point on the court. The money angle can't be ignored either. Both Kyrgios and Sabalenka are managed by the same company, Evolve. That's raised questions about whether this entire spectacle was manufactured from the start, a carefully orchestrated PR stunt designed to generate headlines and ticket sales. The trash talk feels almost scripted. The timing feels too perfect. The narrative of the injured underdog male player versus the dominant female champion, it's tailor-made for viral content and social media debates. Some fans are calling it sports entertainment rather than legitimate competition, comparing it to professional wrestling where the outcomes matter less than the storylines. Whether that's fair or not, the perception is there, and it's eating away at whatever credibility this match might have had. What happens when the final point is played? That's the question keeping analysts and fans up at night, because there's no clean outcome here. No scenario where everyone walks away satisfied. If Kyrgios wins, even with the modified rules, the people who believe men's and women's tennis exist on different physical planes will claim vindication. They'll point to the result as proof that the gap is real and unbridgeable, that all the training and skill in the world can't overcome basic physiological differences. It won't matter that Kyrgios had 1 serve instead of 2. It won't matter that his target area was smaller. A win is a win, and the narrative will write itself. Kyrgios will be insufferable. His supporters will flood social media, and every future conversation about pay equity and respect in tennis will get dragged back to this match. But if Sabalenka wins, the excuses are already being written. Kyrgios will say he wasn't at 100%, that the injuries held him back, that the modified rules made it impossible to play his natural game. His defenders will argue that a healthy Kyrgios in his prime would have destroyed her, so the result doesn't prove anything. The goalposts will shift, and suddenly the conversation will be about how the match wasn't fair, rather than acknowledging Sabalenka's skill and preparation. And here's the kicker. Some people will question whether Kyrgios even tried his hardest, whether he threw the match to avoid the backlash that would come from beating the world's #1 female player. That's the trap. There's no winning for Sabalenka, even if she wins. The skeptics will always find a way to diminish her achievement, to add asterisks and caveats, to protect the narrative they've already committed to. It's a rigged game, and she knows it, but she's playing anyway because sometimes you don't get to choose your battles. Sometimes the battles choose you. Critics are also pointing out that Kyrgios seems determined to make a point beyond just winning the match. This isn't a friendly exhibition where both players are smiling and having fun. This feels personal for him. He's framed it as a proving ground, a chance to demonstrate that the physical differences between men and women in tennis are real and significant. If that's truly his mindset, if he's going onto that court with something to prove about gender rather than just enjoying a fun spectacle, it changes the entire tone of the event. And then there's the Evolve connection. Both players sharing the same management company makes everything feel coordinated. The trash talk timeline, the bet I'm making, the viral potential of every soundbite and social media post. It's all too perfect, too engineered. That doesn't necessarily mean the competition will be fake, but it does mean the story around the competition has been carefully crafted for maximum engagement. We're all playing our parts whether we realize it or not. So here's what we're left with. December 28, 2025. A man ranked 652nd in the world, carrying 9 months of rust and a body held together with surgical screws and hope, steps onto the court against the most dominant female player on the planet. He's predicted an easy victory. She's promised to humble him. The whole thing is wrapped in controversy, money, modified rules, and the ghosts of battles fought decades ago. Will Kyrgios's confidence be justified, or will his injuries and layoff betray him at the worst possible moment? Will Sabalenka's power and preparation be enough to overcome the physical advantages he brings, even in his diminished state? Can she return his serve consistently enough to stay in rallies and break him down? Or will one serve per point still be more than enough for Kyrgios to control the match? One thing is absolutely certain. Someone's trash talk is going to age terribly. Someone's predictions will be dissected and mocked for years to come. Someone will leave that court in Dubai wishing they'd kept their mouth shut and let their racket do the talking. The tennis world will be watching, the debates will rage for months afterward, and the implications will echo through every future conversation about gender, athletics, and competition. I've made my bet. Nick Kyrgios wins easily. The serve differential, even with modified rules, will be too much for Sabalenka to handle consistently. The physical gap will show up in the longer rallies, and Kyrgios's shot-making ability, even when rusty, will create problems she can't solve. That's my read on this match, and I'm backing it up with real money. But here's your chance to profit from my potential mistake. Before December 28th, before the match even starts, follow me on this channel and drop a comment that says exactly this. You owe me $100. That's it. That's all you have to do. If Sabalenka wins, if she proves me wrong and silences Kyrgios and everyone who doubted her, I'll make good on my promise. $100 to everyone who followed the instructions and stuck around to hear them. Good luck to everyone. See you on December 28th.